in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I am bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
Gone too fast there. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you all had a good lunch. I wanted to begin with, not with information, but with a feeling. Because legacy work doesn't begin really in the mind. It begins in the emotional center of who we are. I'm honored to be here with you, and I stand on the shoulders of giants, some globally known, others known only to me, and all of them shaped why I'm here today. The work you're about to experience is the most personal and the most professionally rigorous work I've done yet, and it was built out of a few things: 25 years of leadership development, 15 years of personal coaching, senior executives, and in between them, deep disruption, grief, and rebuilding. And the search for a leadership model or system strong enough to hold power, pressure, and purpose at the same time. And before we go deeper, I want to share something with you that I have never said publicly in a professional setting. My life had broken down when I was alienated from my son at his age of 5, caused from difficult relationship dynamics. But my son is now 22, and it's been 17 years since we last hugged. That loss of connection is rebuilding. And in those 17 precious years, it forced me to rebuild who I am, my identity, my nervous system, my values, my beliefs, as well as my legacy work, to be unshakable and to lead from the inside out. This brought me to meeting my soulmate, father of another son, leading a thriving business. So on this executive life journey, I found that what I had rebuilt was a code that I still use today. And I share with every senior executive leader who partners with me on their personal legacy. And I'm really honored to share this with you. This is the first time I share this code, and now that you know where this work comes from, let's talk about the journey we're stepping into together. So today you walk away with something practical. I'm going to show you how or why first we do the work that we do. We are entering an era which I call the legacy era. Because if we start to think about what is success, it's taking a very different shape. What does success look like in 2035? Is it going to be measured by titles, by roles, by certificates? We kind of already can see the shift. It's being shaped by movements, by missions, momentum that has a direction and meaning. So my question is, what is legacy to you? Legacy comes from a Greek root word that means to gather, to voice. And then it transformed into a Latin word, legere, as a message, to be a messenger. So at a deep root, legacy is the message, what you are bringing together. Yes, it's something we leave behind, which is the traditional word. But the question is, what are you bringing to the world now as you live your life day by day? And so the promise is, I hope to share with you a code that allows you to see what you are currently building can exceed and expand and impact more than you had anticipated. So the promise is that this inner code would help you actually build that legacy level identity. You can't build legacy from an old identity. Level up in any area of life, business, executive life. Expand your capacity under pressure. Anchor all your decisions in legacy level sight. Move confidently towards the legacy you are designed to actually lead. And that's a belief that we all are born with a way forward. And actually, how I define legacy is that you are the legacy. Inside you, the seed is there. But before we start and jump into the code, what is this work that I'm presenting solving? Like, what is important about it? And I started to think that as I was going through my own disruption while I was coaching and partnering with senior leaders, that we have no system that we use in the professional setting that looks at inner work that expands who we are. So identity level inner work. And if I may ask you, how much of what we know, what we think about in our own mind, do we acknowledge is conscious? Are we conscious of it? And how much of it is unconscious? What would be the percentage that you would think? Any guesses? Like, how much of your mind is conscious of what we know? 20? 10? 5? Science has proven that it's 5% we are conscious of. So the thoughts that I am conscious of are 5% only. And the rest, 95%, is unconscious. It's so hard to wrap our heads around it that in the corporate world, I only got introduced to this later when I started to figure out what happened to my personal life, but my professional life as well. I was unconscious of a lot of things, although I was very intellectually driven. So the problem we have, I call the zero problem. We're not even looking at unconscious thinking in the corporate world or in any world much, other than when we step out of the corporate world. 0% of leadership development really looks at our identity or who we are. And if we keep this untouched, we are losing a lot of potential from our high potential leaders, and especially CEOs, VPs, leaders who are leading big movements. They're not tapping the 95% of their hidden gifts. So imagine the alternative. What if we are tapping into 95% of the unconscious? Wouldn't leadership identity actually be the biggest investment you bring into your life and business, because they are inseparable? But what would change? What metrics would start to be different in the corporate world? Let's look at the capability. You as a leader, if you were able to tap into 95%, or let's just say a little bit more than 5%, what would you be capable of doing a lot better, a lot more of? And research shows many things that start developing. You start to think differently under pressure because you're accessing more than what you can think immediately. You start to regulate immediately in the moment, regulate your body, the state that you're in. Even if you're in a chaotic environment, crisis hits, you can access more than the 5% because the 5% goes offline in crisis. You build trust faster. You align your decisions to what makes impact stronger. You see patterns others miss. And in high-stake decisions, which we all are, stakeholders, clients, whatever, even personal life, when you're in the court, God forbid, if you have to be in situations where it's high stake, you're able to regulate and you access more than what your mind can tell you. You get sharper and you're able to influence and impact better. So think of the metrics that would change in your organization if you're able to tap into more than the 5%. And that's the importance of what we're looking at today. So what is the inner code? The inner code is a mosaic. It's not a model. It's a system. You can consider it a model, but it's actually a system that allows you to create your personalized model. What I mean by that, it's a system that actually requires a paradigm shift in your thinking, because identity goes deeper than personality, goes deeper than preferences, than what you know. Identity work requires you get to know the 95%. And even if we don't get to know the full 95%, because we're continuously evolving, you know how to tap into the 95%. So what happens is your capacity to lead larger, lead more complex, lead bigger, becomes available. Doesn't become daunting. Your capacity grows exponentially. And so the model I'm presenting to you on the right, I'm going to dissect it a bit. It's what I have put together myself out of my research and my personal life. The 7, let's call them dimensions that we work with in the system. But what's unique about these 7 dimensions, which I put in the mosaic, it's holistic. That means mind, body, soul, culture, and I'll come to the rest. But these 4, mind, body, soul, and culture. It is dynamic because it's not static, it's a system. The way you use it, you evolve, you get to know yourself more as you use it in different ways. All right, so let's get into it. What does this include? The mosaic is composed of 4 human systems and 3 spiritual levels. What are the 4 human systems? These are systems you probably are using already, but when I put them together, you probably could start to see what you use more of and what you use less of. First system is your mind. There's a way the thoughts work. We talked already about there's 5% conscious and the 95% subconscious, and I'll come to another slide because I'll share with you a little experiment of how you can start to see what's subconscious. But there's a whole thought system that's happening inside you. If you understand where your thoughts are coming from, how they're impacting you, you can redesign how you're thinking. But that's a system. It's not a one model. Your body, your organizational body, that's a whole system. Do you know how much messages we get from our body to our mind or brain? They're not the same, I know, but if we say we are working with the mind as thoughts, how much percent does the body talk to the mind or the brain? Any number? Percentage. If out of 100, what percentage does our body speak to our thoughts? 90%. It's proven. So we think we can manage our body. No, you think so. That's the 5% trick. Your body is the landscape where your thinking is. So 80 to 90% messages come from your body to your brain. It's a system. Hands, gut, heart, brain, nervous system, vagus nerve. There's a whole science there, of course. The third system of working is your values. Your values, not the ones inherited, because those also play, but values is a whole, how are values, what are your values? How are they shaping your thoughts? And the fourth is beliefs. What do you believe about the world and about yourself and how you fit into that? The next part is my favorite part, which is the least used in the corporate world or professionally. But we have 3 levels of spiritual capacity. Of course, there could be more, but to simplify, I look at wholeness and grace in how we lead. You have your soul, because the essence of who we are souls in a human body. If you're open to look at how your work connects to your calling, that means you're starting to listen to something outside of yourself. And of course, the greater is being connected to the universe or the wider scope. If you're looking at legacy work, then something already inside of you is asking you to look outside of your human systems. And there is no model system that I have found that has allowed me to actually tap into what is my calling. How do I start to listen to my calling? It's not easy to jump into soul and higher calling when we're disconnected from the body. And that's why a lot of the first work, groundwork, is understanding how you think, how the body talks to you, how your values are shaping every decision, whether they're unconscious or not, and how do you see yourself fitting into the world? Is the world for you? Is the world against you? Are things happening for you? Are things happening against you? Are things happening with you? So there is a system that you start to see how the thoughts turn around and how someone shapes their own identity by choosing what to think. Conscious of time, so an exercise that you may like to do, and I'll explain a little bit here. When we look at how we start to think, I want to share with you archetypal work. If you know Carl Jung, you may hear about archetypal work. Really, archetypal is just another word for pattern. So the idea here is that a way of thinking is to start to look at yourself as having the ability to take on different patterns that shape how you start to think. If you are interested to do the full questionnaire, it's available free using the QR code. But if you're not, it only takes 3 minutes. You can already start to see where you are. But if you follow with me, if you think for a moment, are you the kind of person where your patterns are always driving you to consider compassion, to consider connection? Then you're having thinking patterns of what we call a lover. It's not the romantic love, it's the compassion connection. That's what comes out first. If your mind is around more wisdom, foresight, we're looking at using a lot of vision. You could be exploring more of the sage. The warrior is someone who's a go-getter, target-driven, and the partner is more of the taking responsibility of the other. Now, we're neither one or the other. We are all of them. So in many personality questionnaires, they put you in a box, in a pigeonhole, or they label you, which is fine as an introductory step to know who we are. But what I'm sharing here, I'm saying is you're neither one or you're neither fully sage or any of the other. You are actually invited to be all of them. The wider you can, the more flexibility you can step into any of these energies when you need it, you're already better than the majority of leaders out there. If you're able to sense, how do I create energy? How do I use the thought process of a sage? Then you're more aware than many people who think they're just one or the other. I'm not this kind of person. This is not a leadership style. This is your capacity to be all four, because you have all four within you. You may not believe it right now, but if you start to uncover more of what's in the unconscious, you will realize you can be all, you are all four. Whether you choose to use it or not, that's up to you. Now, each one of these has a shadow. Each one of these has a light. The light is the gift that this energy gives you. Each one obviously has strengths. That's the light. The shadow is that if you use it more than if you use it all the time, if you use your lover, compassion, connection, you may not be able to do more of your go-getting sales figures. And so you have to know how to use all four of them. Which is why I share with you here what I call, how do you uncover or work with your shadow? Shadow is what? Some people give it a bad rap because it looks like it's the dark side. It's just the hidden side. It's the part of you that you've pushed away. So for whatever reason, whether society didn't allow you to follow a certain passion, if you were not speaking up prior because it was a bad thing to speak your voice, it's whatever we push around. So what happens is shadow will ask you to step out of your comfort zone. And we're always caught in the middle. Do I want to show who I am or who I think I am? Or do I want to step outside and try to show what's holding me back? If my voice was held back for a long time because it would be rude if I speak my thoughts, your voice is going to be in the shadow. It's going to hold you back. And you may have internalized what is polite and what is appropriate to keep the good image that has given you the success. So the persona, your energy, is your anchor, and what holds you back or what you put aside is your stabilizer. It keeps you not showing up. If you choose to go that way, you will find that your thoughts are starting to change. And what happens is that the more you go on to your discomfort, the more you do something that was previously deemed inappropriate, the more you'll start to see, oh, my view of myself is not who I thought I was. But it does take a continuous, let's say, scaling of going from comfort to discomfort. We're always in that space. If you're doing legacy work, you're most likely pushing yourself more on the discomfort. And the more you are working in an area where you're stretching yourself, you know that you're stretching your identity. If every time you come and do something and you give way or not do it because it's a bit discomfort, it might displease someone. It might put you as the bad guy because you chose not to, or whatever it is. You are keeping yourself in a loop. I wish I could say more, but my eyes are on the time. So what I actually want to ask you, and this is really much, we're coming to a close. If you're able to use more of your unconscious, your mind, you're able to connect to your body and understand how do I manage stress in my body? What does anxiety mean when it comes? How do I face my fear? Because fear is not intellectual. Fear is in the body. And you're able to align your values of peace, values of prosperity. We had a few sessions earlier where prosperity and passion, purpose, can actually be coming together. So if I'm able to align my values and I start to create new beliefs that I am a legacy maker, that I am a millionaire, that I am the professional in my field, the top, that I am who I say I am. And my business is growing and my family is growing. It's a whole package. And then how does this connect if we take it to the spiritual side? How does this connect to the meaning you bring to the world? How does this connect to what you are here to do every day? Who are you here to impact? You will find that these are all pieces of the mosaic. We can't just be mentally trying to get legacy work. It's holistic. And so the question I leave you is, what will the world lose if you do not become who you are capable of becoming? And if this is of any interest, I will just share that I've put what I've done. I shared with you just some of the systems, but I do this work with senior leaders individually and collectively. And there is a path that I share, and you can find this also on my website, on different places. Are happy to talk, but there is a path. It's not quick, but there is a very stable path that will require we need to reset certain ways of thinking. It would require that you would start rising in a different way, using mind, body, soul together. And then you'll find yourself on the top of your game, reigning in your field, when you are starting to expand more spiritually in terms of purpose-driven. Spiritually is not religious. It means you are really tapping a space that's talking to far more than just your head up here. And collectively, legacy work is never a solo thing. If we're able to expand collectively, you are regenerating the new leaders, whether in education, in corporate business. You are allowing your impact to touch the minds, hearts, and souls of the next generation. And that's why legacy work is about movement, and it's about living now the legacy you are, living it. Because there's no point just leaving it if you're not living it too. And if you want to taste this just to see if it is for you, we do this mini executive retreat. The next one is in Dubai. It's on the 24th of January. It's just a taster. And what we do in it is we help you map out, where are you today? What's the mosaic of you today, just as you are? What's the mosaic of you as the legacy leader you aspire to be? And what does that becoming space look like? If you're interested, you may check it out. And that's all. That's all. I wrote a lot more in the book, which really describes the system in detail. Feel free to check it out. Thank you.